on stream? Geht die Musik? Denn eigentlich das Video ab. We're going to start off this talk, hello and welcome, we're going to start off with listening to a piece of music and watching a video by Precious. Magdalena and René are here with us today, and this is a video where you'll see what this is all about. And we are technical geniuses, so we're going to do it the way that the kids do it on the subway with a phone.
Stranger than your parents, 'cause we are.
that was a short introduction to the band that is here with us today. My name is Susi Andrushova. We're streaming live as well, so we'll do it in English. Thank you all for coming. Magdalena and René are the two musicians who are also parents. And I don't know, do you want to introduce yourselves, or do you want me to do the
Sure. Yeah, I'm René. What we just saw was a music video of mine. It's kind of a solo project, but with a live band. So Malena's in the live band as well. The musical project is called Press Yes, and I also play guitar on tour for Clouseau, who is a German singer, kind of popular one in Germany. And Malena is also playing bass in that band as well. So we tour a lot as a team together. And besides that, I teach at the music school 2 days a week, and I'm kind of owner of a recording studio. So from time to time I produce other bands as well. And I don't want to say everything at the beginning, but I kind of have 4 jobs, and now we have a kid. And Malena, I think it's your turn.
How old is your daughter?
Our daughter is nearly 1.5 years old. So I am a bassist, like more side woman. So I play bass for Press Yes, and we also do a lot of music videos, as like one you just saw. And I also play bass for Clouseau, where he is also playing the guitar. What is a quite big production in comparison to Press Yes, what is more kind of an indie production.
I have my questions on the phone because I also don't own a printer, so excuse that I'm not texting my mom. So your daughter was born in 2021?
Yes.
21,
22nd
okay.
of March 2020. 22. Yeah.
Last year. So
22.
3/22.
Ah, okay. March 22. Yeah. In 22 you had, I looked it up on Setlist FM, you had 32 gigs which were happening in the fall and in the summer with Clouseau. Yeah.
Okay, probably.
No, I mean, it could be more because I never know how people end up typing all the Setlist FM set lists and gig dates in there. But it could be more, but it was definitely 32 because that's when people wrote it online. So let's maybe start with the idea of what you had, because you've been in a band before Press Yes. The way I got to know you was in 2005. You had another band. I know we have to go into the past.
It makes us
you
really old.
It makes me old as well because I've known you for such a long time. 2005, you had a band for 10 years called Velojet, and then you started Press Yes. You're successful touring musicians. So let's start maybe from the beginning. What were your thoughts on how to manage a creative life with a baby before you had your daughter? Like, can you sort of remember what your thoughts were?
I think we didn't really think about kids for a very long time. Also because we thought that's a thing that is like not possible, and it was also not in our head really, because we weren't really like happy with our creative life. You know, there she is. Oh, she just woke up.
She just woke up.
But then it got to a point. Maybe also Corona did a thing. I thought, let's try. And I kind of thought, okay, I did mostly everything I wanted to like achieve, I wanted to do, and if this doesn't work out, I do something else for some years, and then I can go.
You mean with the music?
Touring again, okay. Yes.
So you were thinking, okay, if I need to stop doing music, I will do it.
Yes, I will do it because I've seen like every stage. Like it felt like I've seen everything, and it didn't get boring, but like kind of repeated itself at some point. And I thought, okay, let's try something new, and if it works out, fine. If not, okay. Yeah, so that was my approach to that.
Parenthood is different to men than it is to women. What was your idea of being a dad and a musician? Like, you have a studio at home, Did the
Yeah.
studio turn into a nursery? Did you have the thoughts of I have to say goodbye to a big part of my life?
Yeah, of course, a lot of things have changed since the baby lives in our flat, but there's so much to say about the whole stuff. So at the beginning, when we planned on having a baby, it was kind of a decision that we made, and yeah, as Malena said, for a long time we just played concerts and worked, and then suddenly you're in your mid 30s and you're like, we should maybe think about that as well, and we decided on having a baby, and thankfully we have one. Treats to Mona, and the whole 9 months before the birth were pretty romantic and all, like you're in this new thing, and I love new things. Like I always like to have adventure in my life, and I always said having a kid is maybe the biggest adventure because it's very long, like in years. You have it for 50 or 40 years, so I was a little bit anxious about that, but we decided on that, and it's the best thing that happened in my life. I have to say that clearly. I really love it, and it comes with a lot of changes though, and for a musician, talking about touring, studio, and all the stuff that you do, it's like you have to change a lot of time schedules, and I set our daughter as a priority, like for me, and as far as I can. So of course I have to earn money, but the priority is being as much time as possible at home. And so in the recording studio, I didn't take any jobs for 1 year, or even now I'm like very hesitant on taking new jobs because they mostly end up on being very long jobs. If you do an
He's
album,
a perfectionist.
also. And
He hears stuff nobody else hears.
Yeah, no, not that, but maybe I'm just slow,
Yeah.
not a perfectionist. And that's one thing that I now can absolutely say, that I'm so quick now with music production and everything I do. Like for the last record for Precious, it took me 5 years, and I messed around with mixing it like for ages, like 50 mixes of each song on my hard drive for sure. And now after I think 5 months of having Mona, I already had like a new record on my computer, and I didn't invest any time in that. It was just like 20 minutes there, half an hour there, and I don't even know how it happened, but once you, in our case, when the baby's around, I play a lot with her, and when she falls asleep, I'm like going to the computer, make music for half an hour, and it just like, it's a lot of more fun because it's like so new.
That's also a thing that I, before we had Mona, I saw with other parents. Of course, it is very challenging, and of course, you are like on your limit permanently, especially if you are like creative as well, and don't have like a 9-to-5 job. But it's interesting that I also saw in other parents that they get much more focused at for an obvious reason, because you have to be so quick, and you can't spend any time with anything you don't need. So it's both. Yeah.
We've all seen the like sort of the romantic pregnancy announcement pictures of like be it Beyonce or Rihanna, and I also read a couple of articles like when musicians become mothers, it fuels into their songs, into their music. I just found out that a band called US Girls, she sampled a breast bump into a song because she had twins, and so she was breast pumping a lot, but I wonder what were your discussions? So that is like one picture we see, sort of the romanticized version of motherhood and sort of the joy. What were your discussions on maternity leave? Because a lot of the musicians, like some can take a year off before they even go on stage. I've read articles where musicians after 4 weeks after a C-section, which is like a heart operation, sometimes organs have to be moved out of the body. and they change. I don't have kids, so that's why I talk in baby in baby pregnancy language. So after having an operation, like 4 weeks after, this musician was already on stage. So how were you? How were you? Yeah. How were you dealing with like the physical load and also the luxury of being able to go on maternity leave?
I must. That's maybe a big difference, like from Austria to other countries or to the US, especially. I must say, money-wise, it was no problem because there's a big support somehow. I don't know if you also say that, but this was no argument for me. So everything I did was because I wanted to try it and because I had the feeling instantly when she was born that she was pretty easygoing and that I could try and that I want to try that. I don't know if maybe the people online can't see it, but here are some pictures of our first concert after 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Yeah, it was a precious gig in Dornbirn. So
yeah,
it's like a 10-hour drive.
Like, like 6 hours by train. That was the first thing I tried, and it worked out. And then I did maybe like every 2 or 3 weeks. I tried one concert in Vienna, and there are so many things you have to figure out in the beginning. Transportation, what works best for you, which person works best for which situation.
And the babysitter?
Can deal with the baby. Yeah, babysitter. Mostly we play together.
Relatives,
so we need other people.
Yeah, always.
There is my sister.
During the sound check.
Yeah.
With the show, of course.
I mean, the one similarity that touring musicians and parents have in common, they sleep little.
Yeah.
So sleeping pattern, like when you say she was an easy baby.
We sleep till 9 almost.
So.
Miracle baby.
Malena jokes around and says she sleeps. Yeah.
I sleep more than before,
she sleeps
honestly,
more with the baby.
Now I want to get pregnant.
No, because she falls asleep at 9 and I mostly fall asleep with her and then I sleep maybe 12 hours. I never did that before. Like I went to bed at 1, it worked. So. Yeah.
And how do you divide? Is it just like a normal job? Like a very stupid question. Is it just like a normal job? You set up the times when you are playing, like touring, but you also set up the times for creative work. Like how do you write? Yeah.
I don't do so much creative work.
You mean?
Like do you have like? I mean, the famous example is Nick Cave, who goes to the office and writes 9 to 5.
No, I can't do that. So. Before the baby, I was constantly thinking about music, so that changed drastically. I'm like not in my head anymore, and I feel like much better this way. And at first I was really scared that I don't have any ideas anymore, but now it seems like ideas are just coming like effortlessly. But
did you write a
maybe
song
they are not good because
how many records did you sell?
I mean the new songs, it's like
I don't think so.
I think I'll like the new demos too, but it's at some point I think it wasn't hard like doing the new stuff, so why there must be something wrong with it, because usually making an album is always such a long process, finding yourself, then doing things that are not you, and then you have to look for a very long time. And
have you written a song about Mona?
Not quite. Not a song that I will release. But it keeps knocking on my head. So this album also needs some for me because it's about the adventure. But it's not Mona. Children based. The next record.
Water, right?
That's what.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm the most afraid of as a music journalist. A musician releases a record. Oh, this is a record about me being a dad and singing songs.
I think
it can be very. Yeah, it can be.
Yeah, I know. We were talking before.
Yeah.
It's okay. I think if somebody feels
I
that way.
I don't know if it's. I don't know. This is going off the rails, but yes, I think it is interesting because it's part of a person's life, and a record is a product of a person's life. and view of the world. I just don't know if it's if there is so much new to be said.
Yeah, and if
I
it's
don't,
this,
especially, no offense, from a man's perspective.
mm,
I think from a female perspective, it's different
yeah.
than if I've already said too much. Don't cancel me. But let's go maybe to sort of the production, the big production touring with Clueso. I don't know how many of you.
Maybe let's Clueso.
Clueso, sorry.
In Austria, everybody says
I
Clueso.
always say Clueso,
Yeah.
and it's
Inspector Clueso.
Clueso. I'm sorry,
No, no.
Clueso. Just to, I don't know how many of you know him, but just to give you a, I looked it up, and all of his last 4 records went #1 on the German charts, so that's quite an achievement. And he's played this summer. You played at Hurricane in Southside, so you know sort of the dimensions of crowds that he's attracting. And in when he plays arenas, it's like arenas named after cars and other brands. So it's a big production, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a lot of people on
yeah.
the road. There's 30,
He's
I think.
30 people
Or 28.
on stage.
No, no,
Oh
no.
yeah.
The whole
Yeah,
production team.
So the
with
travel crew is like,
drivers
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a lot of people.
So
I
talk
don't
to
know
a-
any the names of all of them.
Me neither.
You don't know the names?
Not of all. They change,
They
you
constantly change, you know,
during
the crew.
COVID, every
Not the
Ah,
band,
that's
but
right.
the crew constantly changes.
even the musicians during the COVID tour, it was like crazy. On the last gig, it was 3 original members and 5 substitutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So
you know, because there was the big tour, like it was an arena tour with like 10,000 people each day, and it was like verschoben,
delayed,
Delayed.
postponed.
like 3 times during
Mm.
Corona, and he said, I can't do it again. You know, the people bought tickets. I can't cancel these shows. So he really from the band, maybe the half was left. All the others were
Yeah.
sick. But he,
It's a
Made it.
I've watched some live videos this morning. It's fantastic. I'm a big fan of brass instruments at live shows, and it's a fantastic show. So Clueso, when was the first time you took Mona on tour? Like, what was the
We waited a little bit, so
Yeah, it was a
I
year
was
to the first
playing,
flight.
5
and
months?
Malena at first had a substitute bass player play instead of her, and then pretty 5 months. We
Yeah.
went on the Nightliner tour with Mona, which is of course kind of funny because it's a little baby, and you're going on the
I must say,
Nightliner.
um,
It's Have you ever been on a Nightliner?
Yes, it's
It
awful.
stinks. Yeah, it smells.
I
and
mean,
it's-
I
the
just
air
wonder if you-
condition is always on 5 degrees, like it's super cold. It was winter, the first one.
No, but I must say that so he started like a little before, like 2 months before. Like I thought, okay, I will start in August, not like in June as the others. And then like in August we tried, you know, flying. Like here you see the first flight and the first backstage picture you see with those earphones. We tried rental cars, train, whatever, you know, was there. And I was kind of afraid of the Nightliner because I thought, okay, you can't do that, you know, you don't put babies in Nightliners.
I mean, do you have a crib, or is she in a bunk bed with you?
She's
Yeah.
in a low bed.
Bunk bed, yeah.
And like on one weekend we had a rehearsal and we already booked the train and we would have been too late. So I thought, okay, we have to try the Nightliner, otherwise we can't rehearse. And it went like pretty fine. So we thought, okay, let's do it like only like this because you have the bed like right in front of the door. It's really the easiest way.
So how does a daily routine of being on tour look like? Yeah. Like
It's like we with the Clouseau production, it's like the cons of a Nightliner tour is that you can sleep very long if
Here's
you want to.
another
With the baby again, not so long, but you get up at 9 or 8 when she wakes up, like, and you have breakfast, maybe a shower, and so we are both in the same band, so we can juggle things around. And Mona is a child who likes to play a lot, so she just gets up and you play instantly. You go in play mode, and then the first thing we actually have to do is the sound check at 3 o'clock. So it's pretty late. So you have a free day till 3 o'clock, and that's where our babysitter, which is also on the Nightliner, and has been provided by the production, so by
wow.
Clouseau, which is kind of a very like big commitment. But he's a very nice guy, and it's for him it's like it's totally like he's a guy who doesn't think about money. He doesn't care about stuff. He's more he wants everybody to be happy. It's a very nice atmosphere, and yeah. So we
there
have
was
the babysitter.
So there was no like how do we break the news? How do we make this work? Because from the beginning it was like sort of okay, we'll make it work because you're.
Yes, kind of.
so,
He's like he likes new situations also. Like
Yeah.
also on stage, he always constantly creates situations like okay, now let's chill. I don't know
Yeah.
these lyrics. Let's do A minor,
Freestyle.
whatever. So
Yeah.
he likes those situations, but of course he was like we all were. It doesn't necessarily always work. So of course we try to be realistic and like okay, let's look at it. Is it really cool for everybody? And does it work for me, for him, for her, for everybody else? You know.
Because you're not alone on the tour bus. Like everybody wakes up when somebody screams.
Yes, and I didn't want to wake up everybody with her, but yeah, but it, yeah. So we have the babysitter on this tour, and this makes it a lot easier, you know, in comparison to all the other bands I'm playing.
To a smaller, yeah. I mean, that's one thing I constantly think about, like how could a normal band, because most bands are not the size of Clouseau. They're more like not playing in front of 8,000 people every day. So it's for me booking shows for Press Yes, for instance. It's always a little bit tough because I'm too anxious saying to the promoter, also we have a baby and we need maybe an extra room, and do you have a babysitter for 1 hour or 2 hours? You're like trying to down talk it a little and then get a little. I mean, good
You
thing
deliver
is
you deliver your
sandwich.
no
the
no
baby.
not the
It's more veggies these days.
yes, it's rider. You deliver your rider and it says like no alcohol, but
Yeah.
one babysitter.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
White socks
Forget
and
the lights.
babysitter.
Like,
No vegan
we
food.
need nothing.
Only a
Veggies
babysitter.
and bananas.
Blanket for the baby.
Yeah.
So that's a tough thing, and
Yeah, money thing is like for
Yeah,
smaller
money.
bands. It's yeah, it's an argument.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I have double costs.
which
but have you ever seen a band without a bassist? They're not good. Do you have when you were touring like during the arena shows or in the festival circus, did you encounter more musicians with kids, and how were sort of the interactions with the other musicians?
the other musicians in our band are also some of them are daddies and mommies, but none did take their children on tour because they were already grown up, and yeah.
But I mean, like musicians that also play a festival where you
Yeah,
are
there
sort of
weren't-
backstage.
there
Have you
weren't
ever
any.
met a
Yes,
musician
I mean
backstage?
sometimes,
Yeah.
but like not as we do, where she's like permanently on tour, but also because we both play. Of course, there is like Judith Holofernes and like people you have heard of, but I don't know. anybody
Feist.
else.
I remember
Yeah.
Feist
Ah,
was
yeah.
on
Mhm.
tour with her. She was on tour.
Christina Stürmer. I actually asked
that's
because she's also on tour with her like husband, who is the guitarist.
That's right.
Yeah, and she was actually because I met her before. I asked them like how do they do, you know. But then we didn't meet, but because it worked out pretty fine. But she was the only one I asked. I thought of.
And other examples of discussions, experiences that you shared with fellow musicians, artists that had sort of were in this similar situation as you were figuring out
I had a funny discussion with the guitar player and singer of another very popular German band last week, but I don't know if I can say the name. Yeah,
You don't have to say names.
Silber something. It's a big band, and he was saying the funny thing that they have some die-hard fans who come to every show, like, and it's about 500, so they are always constantly looking for contact to the band, and they absolutely tried to never show their kid. I don't even know if the relationship is like, maybe that's the first time. That's why I don't say the band name. But he said that the boy is now 5 years old, and he's it's so funny that he always says when they're going somewhere for dinner or food, he's always like, I hope there are no fans there. Because they always told him, like, there are fans, we have to go there because there are fans. And so he's like, are there fans there?
Oh, so a fan has
he
become
got a
like
fan
a
paranoia.
Yeah.
Because it's
The
something
worst
really
animal.
bad.
Oh my God.
I had to laugh really
But I
hard
mean-
because ours is like the opposite now. She's like going to everybody and like showing everything, like.
But it's a different situation, we are not like the main
You're
attraction.
not
in
you're
Yeah.
not the
circus,
singers. Yeah.
we are like just side musicians.
I mean, if you, again, a good band without a bassist doesn't exist. It's not true, but sort of true. But let's go imagine the situation of, I mean, a parent trying to protect the kid, and what role social media plays when it comes to like if you
Showing
were
the kid.
that in that level that you would be recognized on the street and you would be the face of the band. How would you deal with sharing this personal side?
I mean, as I told before, this whole social media thing is, for me, it's in between, okay, I want to share because this is like really cool and I want to empower other musicians to try, but on the other side, you can't show children on social media, at least not like very detailed. So this is like in between, but we are not as famous as others. So of course I wouldn't do it as a famous person, but I try to find like a
Yeah.
line in between, like where I can show things, but not too many details. Hopefully.
Yeah. The problem is a little bit that your whole life is so focused on the baby, and like I have like 30,000 pictures of her on my iPhone and no pictures of gear or guitars or myself anymore. None, like none. And when it comes to posting something on Instagram, I used to look on my phone, like look for cool pictures, cool selfies, and now it's all like Mona. and and it's so cute, all the videos, but I can't post it, and it's like really bad too, because I want to share it, but I wouldn't share it because it's just not her decision. And yeah, and also music for me was always like an escape outlet, and so also going on tour for us is a little bit like going on holiday, or like the same as having a trip in the camper van, being somewhere else, having new adventures, and then going back and do normal life stuff.
You used to, like, from the videos and from the stuff that you post, you do love camper van life.
Yeah.
But that was also
Yes.
before the baby, so you sort of had that
Also now,
traveling.
Yeah, we're doing it. Yeah.
I mean, it's so sad when
Didn't stop.
sad, but it's from my limited perspective of the friends that I have with babies. I found out that the ones that just continue doing what is joyful to them and like keep the routine and try not to fit too much into what their parents or society is trying to tell them, that's usually the best way, because everybody has to work out how parenting works for themselves.
Yeah, but I also think like exactly like this, but there are so many different situations, so many different children. Like every child is different, and it's hard to say something, Everybody has to find
it's
their own
yeah,
way,
it's hard to
so hard,
yeah, of course.
You don't know how relationships works with children. You don't know.
Yeah.
So
What would you have wanted to know, or what kind of support would you have wanted from either family, state, society, yeah, with after becoming parents? Like, is there something that you wish for that you would have either known or support that you would have gotten?
The 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 most problem, like the is time, like, and it's extremely helpful if you have like relatives that take care of the child once in a while. We have that once a week for a couple of hours when we both really can't do because we both have to work there. And but yeah, the time thing, I still don't know how to manage that, so I'm still like a little bit. It's a little bit of a bad feeling that I want to do more work, but I can't because I also want to be at home for the most part, and so it's like I don't know when that stops, or does it stop? Maybe I don't think so. So it's like.
Can I say something? Like Mona had her first kindergarten
today.
hours today. So most parents say so. This is a big change.
Yeah.
Do
you feel a big change?
Not yet.
Not yet. It was just 1 hour today. But now when she's like there for two days or whatever.
You leave her overnight?
That helps because having a baby is the best thing, but it also can be very exhausting because it's like this endless playing. It's like I also get uncreative, and at some point you're doing the same thing 1,000 times, and it's like you need short breaks to do something else. Then you can go back and be joyful again.
It's so interesting because that's also what musicians say about touring, that it's so mundane.
Yes.
Because you wake up on a nightliner, you have the sound check, all the venues look the same, all the cities start looking the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I jump in there? A friend of mine, the bass player from the band Kreisky, Austrian cool band, I was driving the car with him, and we didn't have the baby, and I asked him, so tell me the truth about it. How is it? And he said, like, if you've been touring a lot, it's kind of the same. You never sleep enough. It always stinks a little.
And it's always noisy.
And it's always too noisy. So, and that's exactly what I have to think about so many times, because I think it's a little, if you have been a musician before, like doing this whole thing for 20 years, touring, writing, rehearsing in shitty places, and you're so used to stress, I think, that I have to say I don't find it stressful, like having the baby. It's a lot of work. But it's so much fun that you get back. So, and we have a very easy baby. We know that kind of because everybody keeps telling us, and it must be true.
Is it the terrible 2s or terrible 3s or 4s?
Or 3, yeah.
It will start.
It will start, yeah.
It's
but
already starting a little.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But you were asking about like which support we wanted. I think, I mean, a big support would be if there was some funding for something, because a big issue is if you travel with a babysitter, like the costs like go up and up. This would be like really a big support. Because it should be no argument, it is much more complicated anyway, and there's the money thing still. So that's one thing, and of course, if the venues and like people, promoters are getting more used to like having babies, things change little by little. Yeah. For example, here is a picture of a hotel that has a playground, like in the hotel. That is right beside Arge, Salzburg.
Okay.
This was such a big help because I could rehearse the whole day. This is a small thing, but it's a big help.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about. I mean, a lot has been said about musicians who go on tour and the mental stress that it can have on people. She loves.
She loves the tour passes.
She wears all the backstage passes.
Ten.
and
She's
it's-
already
it's
already
crazy.
collecting backstage passes. I see.
That's the only thing that
It's
I don't know.
It's
how it will
shiny.
be in 10 years. But she has about 10 of them at home, and she has to wear them.
So touring, a lot of musicians are talking or canceling gigs or talking about how much touring is affecting the mental health. So when does touring become a problem for a person's mind?
Yeah.
How is it health wise for you, and what do you think in terms of how it is affecting the baby? And I don't want to use the word is it healthy for a baby, but it's yeah. What sort of the discussions or your thoughts on touring and mental health?
May I? Like,
Yeah.
I've worried a lot because I'm not the most strong and most super healthy person, and I was sick a lot of times in my life. So I was worrying if I can't hold up with the stress level. But for me, it's now like I grew with the Anforderungen. So
With
I get stronger.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happens because you don't sleep as much and everything is a little bit more, but I just get stronger and
Resilience. That's the word.
resilience. Yeah, and that's so. I didn't
the word,
believe in
yeah.
that. People told me like, you grow with them, and I was like, not me. Like I'm too small, but it does work. It really. I wasn't sick the whole year with the kid, and you get really strong, and you don't eat breakfast. She has the breakfast, and you eat what's left over, and it's like you don't. I mean, you stop caring a little bit about yourself, like in terms of health or sports. I tried to do a little bit of yoga, and that works because in the morning she's already playing, and I'm like next to her, and so that does work. Some things work even better than before because you have more time and can do it next to the baby or child. Yeah, but yeah, that's what I wanted to say. You grow with. It really is true for me.
I mean, in the beginning, of course, we thought about, okay, is this good for a child? You know, nobody does it. It can't be good. And it's always like, okay, you try more and more steps. And fortunately, we can see somehow that she is happy. So that I'm very happy about that because if she wouldn't be as she is, I would doubt it much more, of course.
Yeah.
And of course, we doubted it a little bit more or less.
And I'm pretty sure there were a lot of opinions by people. As it happens when women get pregnant, everybody has an
Yeah.
opinion.
Yes.
Everybody knows something. Everybody wants to share something, some
Yeah,
wisdom.
but for some reason they didn't come to me. Maybe they have them, of course they have,
Okay.
I'm sure, but they left me with their opinions
Yeah.
alone.
That's good.
We also, I have to say, we spend so much time with the German production or band, and they are such a workers team. They're like all so motivated. They're also always like good mood, and it's like
Very un-Austrian.
I didn't want to
Austrians
say
have
that.
big guilt,
Yeah.
and the Germans are like, let's go.
Yeah, they
That's
just love working in community, and it's like such a. Everybody's like, hey, and they're
constantly.
all to the little one. They're all like, hey, come on, let's go.
There's
Play.
Sorry, there's one interesting thing. Clouseau said like some weeks ago, like when he said, okay, she's like really funny, and this is so nice to have her on tour. But of course, you know, she is there in the prime time of those people's lives. She only has prime time. You know, normally like small babies are home, and you know,
Yeah.
somebody's maybe
No
aggressive or like
frustration.
frustrated or whatever. But not so much with us because everybody is.
I
living
mean,
the good life.
I think it's also like let's say that maybe 10% of that happiness and joy and sort of that let's go attitude is because we've been in lockdown forever.
Yeah.
Like
Also,
it was like
yeah.
just like I remember the first gigs that I went to, and like the first time you don't view people as threat anymore, and you don't wear a mask anymore, and
Yeah.
you feel like okay, vaccines are working.
Yeah.
So I mean everybody wants to have this thing continue and work, which has been struggling like the life industry. So yeah. Let's check time. We have yeah. How much is enough touring was my last question. How much is enough touring? If you
How much
if
is
you
enough
if you
Enough
could
to-
For me, it's pretty soon reached like the limit of I can't play so many shows. Like I don't just because for me it has to be a creative thing, and I get very quickly bored with. Sometimes after the album presentation, I'm like, oh, I can't do it another time. Like because it's such a huge event, and you practice for that a lot of days, and then it's like then it's gone, and it's magical every time you do it. But I'm not a repeater. Like it's so that also benefits playing with a child. It's like I love being in the park now with her, meeting new other parents, and just like doing new stuff. I don't even think it's normal because kids are so creative. It's like they're doing something, and I love that, the creative fact of it. But back to the question, it's like Malena is sometimes playing 3 or 4 shows a week in a really rushing times. I would say I'm like, for me 1 or 2 shows a week is enough because we both teach 1 or 2 days, and then we travel a lot, so we have to unpack and pack and repack, and with the kid, it's like we're just packing all the time. Yes. And when you lose the teddy, you lose the cat. You lose the cat. It's still in the train. You come home. Katze. You're like, Katze.
Katze is at der Raststation.
First, another one.
Yeah, we had that, and they, this. You want to tell the story? We didn't get it back. So we had to buy another one, and you have to fake the fur. Yes, she hurt the Katze.
Oh.
So that's
big trauma. The Katze.
Yeah, it's very important. The little pets, and I think this. You need so much time for all this that
And there's gonna
other
be
than that, the concert or the show, that's not the thing. It's just the time you need for every. It was before the child. It was the same. Like every show is like 3 days of other stuff to do, booking, packing, going to the haircut, or what do I know?
One thing I also thought, like, really packing is a big thing. I mean, thinking about so much stuff. But one thing I also thought about is maybe as a, like, for me it's easy because I'm a side woman, but I'm not sure if you are like on the front, you have like a different level of stress, I think. And I also talked to other women who are mothers. It can be, I think, more difficult for like front women, mothers than like.
Because
I'm happy I can go there and I go back and
because people are judgy. People have an opinion of what a mother should look like, talk like, do, and then if it doesn't fit their picture, they're like, you're doing it wrong, stuff like that. So I think, but it's good that you're sort of safe from that. I mean,
I think more like
we should all give less fucks about what other people think. By the way.
But I think more about the energy level I need. I only need like 2 hours of energy, 3 a day, and if you are like if you are like a front person, you need more. That's what I mean. Yeah. And then it's maybe more difficult.
Yeah. Is anybody having any questions?
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not on tour actually, or
Yeah, well,
it's more in the train maybe sometimes that people are annoyed by kids.
I think what is the only thing that is a little bit difficult is the noise thing, especially if you are like on big festivals. It's always the question, okay, where can we go today? You know, normally
Yeah.
it's can we go in the hotel, or is there a backstage that is good, or is there a Spielplatz, or and on the big festivals that's sometimes the hard thing. And there I heard people talk, okay, you don't do this with small kids because the ears. And
But
that's true.
But that's
Yeah,
what the headphones are for.
I'm
like,
super
Yes.
yeah, but you
As
know
long as she
kids
takes the
Oh, okay.
try
don't
to
take
rip
out.
them off. So I'm super paranoid about
Yeah.
this. That was my main reason for thinking, should we even do that? Because I googled like, I don't
I have an
But-
invention. I have
Yeah.
an idea. I have an invention I want to share with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Helmets with headphones, so kids
Yeah.
can take that off, like with you strap them.
I mean, they also
you know,
don't
but if
like
they say,
helmets. That's
Oh, okay. I
Something
cannot
else.
help
Yeah,
you
yeah,
then. Sorry. Is there any more questions?
Last week we were just too slow. Like we just came on with the shuttle on the festival, and they were just testing some subwoofers
Wow, yeah,
when
yeah.
we opened the door. It was just too quick.
yeah. I use my handstand for
Yeah,
some
yeah.
minutes.
Now she also starts
accepts
doing this.
that. Yeah, but yeah,
Really?
yeah. Yeah. Ah, really?
Oh.
Good.
I think
good
my
idea.
helmet idea is
Yeah.
better than
Yeah.
gaffer tape.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's sell this idea to Disney. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do it.
No. No.
No, we didn't. And,
Yes, sorry, I forgot. We were talking about the question was what René and Marlene will do once school year starts, which is in Austria 6 years, and yeah, how they will change their schedule or what their thought process is.
You know, children are constantly changing, and for me, it doesn't make sense to think about what is because you never know. It's different every 6 months or every 2 months. You know, now she's running around, and it's a big change. Could be that maybe in half a year, maybe she doesn't want to go on tour with us. I don't know, but yeah, you have to constantly adapt.
Yeah, and those thoughts pop up from time to time, but then you have like about a minute till you get like called your
Distracted.
name, and so you never think you don't have the time to do it, think about it. At least we don't have. So she keeps saying what she wants.
But when is she gonna start playing an instrument then?
She plays everything, of course, in the home studio. It's kind of annoying because she's
So she's
turning
the
all my knobs on the mixing desk, and I used to be very specific about, now I have the sound, you know. And now every day she goes, because my mixing desk has very colorful vintage faders, and she's always like, everyone.
This is the Mona remix.
Yeah, it's so cool. But yeah, it's funny. I can't play the steel drum in the flat because it's so loud that once I hit it one time, she's coming and she wants to lick the steel drum stick, and it's really gross because it's 50 years old rubber. But yeah.
Okay. Is there any more questions? I would say, when is the next gig?
On Saturday, but
Yes.
Malena's taking that one off.
No, I'm
No.
Ah,
Yeah. Next gig.
Saturday in Austria. Here.
No,
No,
it's
no,
in
no.
Lacherstorfer
Is it Pressiers?
in
Or
Germany.
is it
No.
Clusol?
Next, yeah.
But week afterwards, my substitute is playing too, and then I play the last two, and then there is
Then there's a break.
A break.
And press
Yeah.
yes.
We have a break
We also finished quite the tour for the album, and I'm writing the next one and try to release it as soon as possible and make it my easy album that wasn't any effort, and it worked till here.
So no
So I'm
50
looking forward to
no
that.
50 different mixes for one song.
No, like the demos are the mixes already, and then Mona. So, yeah, but yeah, we want to book. Actually, I got asked to play in Budapest on this cool ship, the A38,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, that's the one thing at the end I have to mention again. That's the real difficulty. Like, you need a train because we don't take her on the Sprinter van. You need a babysitter
it.
there.
She hates sitting.
Now we also
Yeah.
can't do it with the gear. It's too dangerous. And so you have you have to pay the fee for the musician, and then you have a train for sometimes to Germany. We played in Ulm. It's like 160 for the Deutsche Bahn, and super expensive. And the
Babysitter
costs,
twice, plus
Okay.
hotel for 2 persons.
yeah. And so you have
You
need
have to
so
write
much money.
hits.
Yeah.
No, we need funding.
All
Yeah.
that.
And now imagine that's like it's my project and I pay the musicians, but if it would be Malena's project and she couldn't do it at all because the money, but then also like time-wise, and that's really one thing that I find ridiculous. Like, how should they do it? So it's like that's a thing which is really bad, and there should be a lot of funding for
Funding.
that.
I think there's a
Maybe
press
for
conf-
the first 2 years. Or
Yeah. I think there's a press conference actually next week about, in 2 weeks about the new reform of the Musikförderung, of the funding in Austria. So I think there's gonna be a couple of changes that we will find out about in 2
interesting.
weeks.
Cool.
I hope I'm not saying any secrets, and if so, you haven't heard it from me. Susi Andrushova was my name. René and Marlene, thank you so much. We're gonna close off with, is it a Baby Bump video?
It's the most recent single, Blue Crystal Water, and that was the first video shot, no, the second one actually, which we always shoot the videos as a team, Marlene and me, with a old analog camera, like a little one you can wind it up and just shoot. So it's always with us in the camper van, and now our baby was strapped to the one shooting the scene, and the other one was performing. So, and
You know,
this
analog camera
makes a rattling sound. Like once you push the button, it makes. And as soon as that sound started, she always pulled the trigger because the trigger goes like. She was like. And so I had so many shaky scenes this time, and it's super expensive. The like 10 seconds are like 20 euros. So you're like. It was very funny, but also very, there's no word for that. It's, we kept our nerves pretty well.
Sometimes she
that's
was
one
playing
thing
in the camper van, you know, and we're just locking, everything up and like put some stuff to play, and then
Toys.
okay, now we have 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So this is
Let's push
this
play.
video. Yeah. Thank you for
Thank you.
Thanks, yeah.
listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
again, this.
Shaky scene.